Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all having a fabulous Tuesday or Monday if you're overseas, over in America or the EU. Just bear with me a sec. Okay. I've got you up on my computer, on my phone, so I can see your comments. I'm here delivering our second strategy training. So bear with me just a sec while I get everything set up on the back end here. I have my notes. We're going to be talking about a really important and really powerful and important aspect of writing your chapter today. And this is really looking at balancing the, get my screen looking all right, balancing the two energies of writing intuitively and writing strategically so that we can maximize launch exposure and call in high-level clients. So there's a few different components to this particular strategy training that I'm going to be delving into. As you're joining me, say hi so that I can see who you are. Please pop in hashtag replay or hashtag hashtag replay if you're catching the replay, or hashtag live if you're here live, so that I can energetically feel you and feel you connected into this strategy session. So writing intuitively and writing strategically, balancing those two energies so that we can maximize launch exposure and call in high-level clients. Now, there's a few different elements at play here. We spoke last week in our beautiful alchemy session about how to connect in intuitively with our team, with our support team, with the energies of our book guides, our ancestors, our higher self, and really learn how to channel forth the important information, the important transmission that we are here to share inside of this book. So that's really looking at the intuitive aspect of writing. And we're going to be doing some more of that in our writing labs, our co-writing workshops. But today I wanted to really delve into the importance of looking at it from a strategic perspective as well. Now, if you were to simply just want to write a book and get it out there to touch, move, and inspire people all around the world, perhaps the strategic piece wouldn't be so important. And of course, that's an incredibly worthy intention to have behind a book, right? But with this one here, with Threshold, with this project, and with collaborative books in general, the reason why they are so powerful is because we're coming together as a collective to share our stories and also to really work with the collective energy so that we can really, bridge our work and bring more eyes on our work and on our story and the soul mission that we're really here to facilitate. So the strategic piece is very important when it comes to leveraging the exposure and actually having your chapter convert into people, into more eyes on your business, people connecting with you on social media, people booking in for sales conversations with you, and really having this be a lead expansion strategy rather than just an inspirational strategy. So this potentially might all be information that you may have heard 1,000 times before. It might be new to you, depending on how far through how many cycles into your business you are. But I really want you to set the intention that you're going to listen to this with fresh ears. You may have done a lot of work on the strategy piece inside your business, but you potentially have never done it through the lens of writing a chapter and publishing a book. So even if you've asked yourself these questions 100 times, I want you to really, as much as you can, set the intention to listen to this with fresh ears so that you can really hear things in a new way and really start to discern different aspects of the strategy piece to bring forth inside of your chapter. So a little reminder first before we go into that. Please, if you haven't yet gone live and introduced yourself, please do that. It's really important that we actually feel you energetically connected into this group. It's one thing to come to the live sessions, but it's another thing to actually do a live video, not a recorded video, a live video, and show your face, introduce yourself, share your intentions, and tell us a little bit more about who you are. I really encourage you guys to friend request everyone inside of this Facebook group as well. We're going to be doing a lot collectively together, and having everyone on board and in your friends list is a very important piece. So the other thing that's important to mention as well is that I've just uploaded a document into the guide section called Chapter Specs and Deliverables Guide. And so that's quite a hefty document. Please take your time reading through it, but it has some very, very important information in there, including the submission dates. It has information around the different editing phases that we go through. The first phase is not so important. oh, sorry, it's not that it's not so important. I retract that. It is important, but it is not essential. And that is to send your chapter in early so that I can have a read. So this is, if you want to have my eyes on your chapter and have me really provide a high-level developmental edit from a high-level publishing perspective, this is not a grammatical edit. It will be more of a high-level edit. And I do really recommend that you take me up on that, because I've noticed everyone who does do that tends to have a higher quality chapter by the end. So if you wanted to have my eyes on your chapter, then the date to submit that to me will be 2 weeks prior to the official date for editing. And that is the 3rd week in March. So everything is in there, is in that document that I've just submitted. Effectively, March is writing month. Okay. Now, as I say inside that document, it could take you 2 to 4 hours to write your chapter. It could take you 2 to 4 weeks to write your chapter. It could take you 2 to 4 months to write your chapter. My intention is to really activate within you the belief and the knowing that if you create your space powerfully with intention, you can literally channel your chapter out in a couple of hours. Now, I really encourage you to prioritize doing that at some stage over the next couple of weeks, so that you can sit your chapter down for a few days, give it some breathing space, and continue to refine it, continue to actually, refine it with additional views. If you want my eyes on your chapter, like I said, I do really recommend that you do that you take me up on that. Then you want to have your completed chapter to me by Thursday. I have the date inside the document, but while I have you here, I'll just pull it up so that I can tell you the official dates. If you'd like to take advantage of my eyes on your chapter, please share it to me via email, and all of the information is in this document by Friday, the 24th of March. I take that week off, Friday to Friday. No sessions in my calendar for that entire week. My calendar is completely cleared to read your chapters and to provide feedback on your chapters, so that you can have the week following to, look over the chapter and to refine it in as many ways as you like. I'll be giving you all sorts of feedback. The date then to submit your chapters will be Thursday, the 6th of April, right? And then we have 2 rounds of editing that we go through. So effectively, you'll have 3 sets of eyes on your chapter. I work with 2 different editors, but myself included means that there'll be 3 different eyes on your chapter if you can get your chapter to me by that Friday, the 24th date. Okay. It's not essential. Not everybody will take me up on that, but I really encourage you to take me up on that, because I've seen it make a really big difference. But the hard deadline is Thursday, the 6th of April, for your chapters to be officially edited and to begin the process of our official editing process. Okay. Just some announcements. So we're looking how to write intuitively, how to balance intuitive and strategic writing so you can maximize exposure and call in high-level clients, high-level soulmate clients. Now, I'm going to be breaking this down, but the first thing that I really want to speak about today is a question. And this is all to do with identity. Okay, so in many cases, we need to claim the identity of the future versions of us that we are wanting to activate in our world. So I'll ask you a question. Are you in the practice of identifying as a published author? Yes, our book hasn't been published yet. And yes, it hasn't reached bestseller status yet. However, now is the time for you to begin anchoring energetically into that identity of a published author, of a best-selling author, of a successful CEO of her business. And when you are not anchoring into that energy, what happens is it's like our nervous system doesn't calibrate to the requirements that it needs to be at, to the capacity that it needs to have in order for us to really hold that identity of best-selling author, of best-selling author, of successful CEO of her business, right? All of that. Your nervous system needs to acclimate to these levels of identity. Now is the time to begin feeling into and anchoring into those higher level identities. So how does that version of you who is a best-selling author, how does she show up for her business? How does she sell? How does she create content? How does she speak about the work that she does? What price point does she price her offers at? What kind of offers does she have? What kind of soulmate clients does she work with? If you think about that version of you, potentially, 6 months down the track, right? Could even be sooner than that. But that version of you who is and it is going to be sooner than that, who is officially published, but that version of you who is a published author, who adds best-selling author into her tagline or into her bio, who wholeheartedly claims that identity, how does she show up differently in her life? I really want you to feel into this, right? Like begin the practice of feeling into these higher level identities so that you can anchor your nervous system there. How does she price her offers? How does she speak about her work? All of this is really, really important, right? Really important for you to have an understanding of. You might not necessarily consider yourself to be at that higher level yet. However, it starts with your identity. It starts with you making that decision and you making that shift, okay? So and I've spoken about this a bit and I'm going to continue to speak about it, but when we up level, when we make big leaps in our business, in our money, in our finances, in our leadership, then often things can take a little while to kind of up level with us. And when that happens, we can find ourselves, our old stuff getting triggered, right? We're going to be doing a lot of work with this, with the nervous system as we continue through this process, because this is very, very important to make that up level and have it be seamless, okay? Have it be like easeful and graceful, to recognize that potentially your stuff might be getting triggered along the way. As I have spoken in the past, in the past couple of sessions we've done so far, it's very important that you reach out, that you communicate. If you butt heads with any of those upper limits or any of those, or you feel your stuff getting triggered, please reach out to me and let me know, whether that's through a Facebook Live on the video, or whether that's touching base in Messenger. I am here for you. I'm here for you along the whole journey, okay? So when we're talking about strategy and about really anchoring in high-level strategy so that we can maximize exposure and call in high-level clients, bear with me one sec. There's a few really important things that we need to ask ourselves, okay? A few really important questions. I'm going to start with some intuitive journaling questions to really set the tone, okay? So I'll add these questions into the description of this strategy training. What does my community need me to say right now? And this is a really beautiful thing to do when we're practicing channeling, right? You can channel, energetically connect in with the energy of your soulmate clients or your future higher level soulmate clients and ask them, what do you need me to say right now? What does my community need me to say right now? What am I being truly called to say or to teach or to impart? What am I truly being called to say or teach or impart? And this is like, what is my soul telling me that I am here to speak, that I'm here to teach? Another question, if I was being truly authentic, what would that look like in my business right now? If I was being truly authentic, what would that look like? What would I say if I was connected to the deepest authentic aspect of me, of my soul, of what I am here to do in this lifetime? What have I been hiding or running away from? And then what do I need to do about that? And you can take this one step further. What have I been hiding or running away from saying or communicating in my business? And then what do I need to do about that? The question really is, are you willing to say the things that people actually need you to say, but that no one has the courage to say, or not many people have the courage to say? This is true for your content. This is true for your chapter. Are you willing to have the courage to say the things that you're being called to say, to share the story that you're being called to share? In the deliverables guide document, I attached to that document a copy of my chapter from a book that I released in 2021 called The Younger Self Letters. And this is the chapter that I fucking didn't want to share. It's the one that I was like, I can't share that. No one needs to know about that part of my life. Not happening. However, when I was sitting down to try and write the chapter, it wouldn't flow. It simply wouldn't happen. And it was because I knew that I needed to write about that time in my life. Okay. So I share that chapter here with you in that document because it's very similar. That is very much a threshold moment for me. And that was a story I really had a lot of shame around and I did not want to share. when I shared it, poof, the shame released, and I released so much energy that was locked inside my system, right? Because I started speaking about something that was a very poignant part of my life and something that had a huge impact on me, but that I hadn't been speaking about prior. So you potentially might have a similar story that is being called to be shared inside this book, but you're potentially feeling a little bit terrified or a little bit scared or uncertain around whether or not that is the story to share. Let me tell you, your body knows. Your head might try and talk you out of it, but your body, your heart will always know, okay? And sometimes the courage to say the things that I know I need to say, but I'm terrified to say, will be the most powerful experience that you can have inside your visibility experience, okay? So another aspect that I want to touch into today is the importance of bringing your community along for the ride. Now, I did speak about this in our first video, our first strategy training, and I'm going to reference this again because it's such an important piece, okay? Your community, they are, and your people around you are going to love the fact that you've made the decision to become an author. Firstly, have you officially announced it? Have you announced to your community using your little graphic that I emailed you last week? Have you announced that you've decided to become an author, that you've decided to share your story inside this book? You can tag me in it. You can tag your fellow authors, and why you believe this book is so important for these times. This is an important aspect, okay? The energy of threshold, the energy of initiation, and how it connects with the work that you facilitate. These are the threads that I want you to really start feeling into and connecting into over the coming weeks, especially as you write your chapter, okay? So really bringing your people along for the ride means pulling back the smoke screen, right? Taking off the professional mask and like actually sharing with them what it's like to write your chapter, what it's like to become an author, to say yes to an experience like this. This also means that when it comes time to promote our book, we're going to be gathering our launch pods, which are people, up to 40 people who are going to raise their hand and say, yes, I'm more than happy to support your book launch. By the time that comes around, and it's going to come around quickly, you're going to have people who have already been brought along for the journey and who know very clearly what you're doing, why it's so important, why you believe in it so much, and they're going to be really excited to read it. So we're going to be warming up our community, right? And it starts with announcing, and it starts with like even one post a week where you're talking about this journey of, you know, deepening into your writing practice and this journey of becoming an author and everything it's bringing up for you. I really encourage you to bring that level of transparency in with your community, okay? So some questions, some strategic questions for you to feel into between now and our next session, next Tuesday morning in Australia, Australian time, Sydney time, 10 a.m. Some questions to feel into. When it comes to the work that you facilitate inside your business, what is the highest level transformation that you facilitate? Thought I was going to sneeze, but it escaped me. What is the highest level transformation you facilitate? You take people on a journey from pain into pleasure or from problem into solution. You activate desire within your clients, within your people. If you want to call in people that are moved from desire, you need to know what the desired state is that you facilitate, that you co-create with your clients. So what is that? What is the higher level transformation that you facilitate for your people? What's the journey that you take them on, right? If you're to look at them before they work with you and then follow that transformational journey to after they work for you, what is that transformation? What is that experience that you help them curate within their lives? Whether that's in health, personal development, business, branding, communications, it doesn't matter. There will still be a transformation that you support your clients to experience because you're no longer, I hope, you're no longer selling simply individual sessions, which are very much focused on fire hosing a problem and a solution, which tends to be like, you know, very narrow. We're looking very narrow at our people and the support that they require. If you're working with people in a transformational process where you're taking them through a journey, then there will be a transformation. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. A transformation that you facilitate. What is that transformation? It's important to know the answer to this so that you can energetically seed it into your chapter, right? And there's no right or wrong way to do this. It simply comes through in your communication. It comes through in the way you share about the work you do. But it means when you're speaking transformation, it means that you're speaking much more results-oriented languaging, which can be quite hard for some people, especially if they work in the energetic space, to really uncover like the tangible, grounded results, the action, the 3D action-based results that people can see with their 5 senses, which I'm going to get to in a sec. How can I most clearly communicate so I can speak to and captivate the people who are the best fit for my work? How can I most clearly communicate so I can speak to and captivate the people who are the best fit for my work? So if you're wanting to call in high-level clients, we need to know what makes a high-level client. Firstly, they are operating from a state of empowerment. Yeah, they are not operating from a low-frequency state of disempowerment. They are operating from a high-frequency state of empowerment. 90% of their world might be going beautifully. 10%, the area that you specialize in, might not be going beautifully, right? They might be experiencing breakdown in that area of their life. And that 10% is impacting the rest, the other 90% of their experience. Now, that's quite a painful problem for someone, right? Because if they're used to their world being really good and working generally very smoothly, but that 10% area that is in breakdown mode or is in struggle mode is effectively impacting and limiting the rest of their life, the rest of the important areas of their life, that's a problem that they're very focused on solving, okay? So what is that, like that communication that you can bring in? And this is often what makes an empowered client is that they are, sorry, a high level client is that they are sitting in the state of, in the seat of empowerment. They are used to investing in themselves. They are used to taking action in their life, in their personal development, in their health, in their business. They are decisive, right? They know how to listen to their intuition, trust their intuition, and say yes, make decisive decisions based on the nudges of their intuition. They don't need to get their head involved so much, okay? So these are a few traits that I'm going to be sharing with you around what makes a high-level client an empowered high-level client. You know when you've worked with a high-level client, right? Because they will be your absolute soulmate clients. They pay their bills on their invoices on time. They are self-led, right? They communicate clearly. You need to know how to speak to those kinds of people in your copy and also in your chapter, so that those kinds of people are the ones that are captivated by your work. Who is your soulmate client? Who is your soulmate client? What do they do? What makes them a soulmate client? At what stage on the journey are they at? Now, there's a lot of different spectrums, right? And a lot of different types of journeys that people can be on. There's a parenting journey where people can be on like completely unconscious parenting, completely conscious parenting. There's the health journey. I'm disempowered in my health and I'm at the mercy of the environment and my internal and external environment. Over here, I am completely empowered and I take control and I take charge of my health, right? There's the business journey. I'm a total startup newbie entrepreneur. I'm making 8 figures plus and I'm completely established in my marketplace. So there's a lot of different journeys, a lot of different spectrums that your client, your soulmate client will fall on. And it's important that you know where they are exactly on those particular spectrums, because the different points along the spectrum, you'll need to speak to them differently. You need to speak to them in different ways, okay? And for example, you speak to a startup entrepreneur very differently to how you speak to a 7-figure entrepreneur, right? Who's established all of the foundational aspects. They're dealing with a very different set of problems to someone who is at the very beginning, right? So really understanding what are the different spectrums of the journey that your client sits on, and then where exactly do they sit on those spectrums is very important. What are the problems you specialize in solving? Now, I shy away from speaking particularly problem-based communication and content these days. However, it's still very important to know the problems that you do solve. You still need to be able to hold space for the problems that you solve, right? And there will be a set of problems that you solve, and there'll be a set of outcomes that you facilitate, a set of desires that you activate, that you solve within your client, for your clients, co-creatively with your clients. What are the tangible outcomes of your work? And then what are the intangible outcomes of your work? So tangible, what can my clients see, hear, taste, smell, touch with their 5 senses? What are the changes in their 3D reality? Tangible, I can touch it, I can see it. Intangible, I can't necessarily touch it or see it in this 3D reality. However, I feel it, I know it, right? It's a shift intuitively, it's a shift emotionally, it's a shift energetically. It's important to have outcomes for both, right? When you're talking about the work that you facilitate, whether that's in your chapter or that's simply in your content, it doesn't matter. However, being able to really speak to and hold space for the tangible and the intangible outcomes of your work is very important. There's going to be people that will need to be, that kind of exist more in the tangible reality. They want to know what's going to be the ROI, what's going to be the payoff, what's going to be the shift in their 3D reality. And then there's going to be other people that are going to be more about their emotional world, their energetic world, right? And then, of course, for you, what makes them a high-level client? Do they have the money to pay? And this is very, like, I didn't get this until I was about 5 years into business. I was doing a lot of work, promoting my work to people who had money blocks, who were working through a lot of their money mindset stuff. And I was speaking to people who had no money because they had all sorts of money mindset problems. So I could easily sell them a lower cost offer. However, when it came to enrolling them into my high-end VIP offer, they didn't have the cash, right? They didn't want to invest. So it's an important thing to think about, right? What are the attributes of your highest level clients? It's important to really anchor the energy of your chapter into the answers to these questions, so that when you're writing your chapter, you are speaking to someone who is in an empowered state of mind, who is like really elevated in their frequency, and connect the dots between what makes them a high level soulmate client for you, your story, like having them really resonate with your experience and the story that you're talking about, and the transformational outcome of the work. Okay. So these are very basic strategic questions to answer. However, questions that are going to really help up level the frequency of the way upon which you're communicating about your business. And of course, this is going to help you inside your content, inside your marketing, and inside the chapter itself. So I wanted to share with you some very basic questions, some very basic strategic marketing 101 questions for you to revisit again. I'm sure all of you have looked at these before and have sat down and done soulmate client work before, but I really encourage you to do this again, because as you up level in your business, your soulmate client up levels, the people that you're marketing to and that you're speaking to energetically up level, everything, the frequency rises rather. So touching into these questions on a regular basis is very important, because your shift and change in your frequency is going to be reflected in the shift and change of your soulmate client's frequency. Who I was speaking to 2 years ago when I wrote the younger self letters is very different to who I'm speaking to now. And I need to very clearly be able to articulate that inside my content and inside my chapter, so that I can really speak to those people and not speak to people who aren't necessarily a fit for me and for my work. That's all I have for you today for our strategy training number 2. We're going to be tapping into this a little bit we will be tapping into this on Tuesday next week. But for now, please put any questions you have in the chat, in the comments. Feel free to tag me so that I definitely get the notification. And March is the month for writing. So I really, really encourage you to get comfortable. Are you doing your daily journaling practices? Have you made time, created time to sit down and to write? Remember, it can only be 2 to 4 hours. You can write your chapter in 2 to 4 hours, but you want to write that sooner rather than later, so that you can give it some time to breathe and come back to it and refine it, right? The more you give it time to breathe, the more you're going to be able to see it through different perspectives. Once again, please go check out the document I uploaded just before, the chapter specs and deliverables guide. Yeah. Alrighty. Sending you so much love. Take care.